Now, as it stands, January deportations trended down by 22% from December, but that was before this week's new DHS memos and procedures. And at the edge of the travel ban executive order, that was stopped by a federal judge.
The Customs and Border Patrol are here, but they're not allowing us to speak to the clients. We have no access to them, and similarly, the family members don't know what's going on.
That was from January, the end of the month, when immigration lawyer Fiona McEntee, who was at one of the airports when over 300 people were detained or processed because of the original travel ban that has since been stopped. And joining us now is immigration attorney Fiona McEntee. Fiona, thanks for being with us. Tell us about what has now happened in just about what's been a month.
Hi, Richard. So during the past week, we got to see a couple of memos that were issued by Secretary Kelly, and as you mentioned, essentially it is a shift in enforcement priorities, and essentially makes anybody who is here undocumented a priority for deportation.
Does this increase the number who might be affected by 1 million or 2 million or 3 million? Are there any pieces of data out there?
I mean, I believe it's upwards of, it could be even 11 million undocumented immigrants. And, you know, as an immigration attorney who works with people, I think it's important that we're aware that behind all these statistics and numbers are families. You know, these numbers represent mothers, children, you know, hardworking people.
These new procedures that have come into effect, how's that affected your clients there in Chicago, in the Midwest?
I mean, to be honest, the effects are being felt all throughout the states. There is now just, people are petrified. We have mothers who are afraid to drop their children off at school, not knowing whether they'll be there to pick them up. Yeah. I mean, this is really not the type of fear. These, for the most part, now we're talking about the people who have done nothing wrong other than being undocumented. Yeah. We're not talking about hardened criminals here. And these people are just, and you know, it actually makes the whole community extremely unsafe. People are afraid to report crimes. They're afraid to come forward as witnesses to crimes. And I mean, that's really not an America that we should be striving for and wanting to be living in.
You saw that piece that I played when you and I were talking about a month ago, and you would run down to the airport to volunteer. 2 days after, at least the subsequent 2 days, I should say, there was a report that some 746 people, because of that travel ban, were still processed, yet it had been halted by a federal court decision at that point. Why did that still happen? Do you know?
Well, I mean, the initial reports that I believe the White House were claiming was 109 people were impacted. Number one, that is just fundamentally not true. I mean, we were there on the ground. We didn't have access to the full statistics, but we knew that that was absolutely not accurate. I think what's more troubling about the situation was that, you know, this is taken into account people who were stuck at airports. There were huge numbers of people that were not even permitted to board planes, that were stuck abroad because the airlines were not issuing boarding passes, you know, to these people. So I don't know if those numbers even really portray the full extent of the problem relating to the executive order and travel ban.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of these numbers very much later after the fact. Immigration lawyer Fiona McEntee, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate your update.
Thank you. No problem.